You opened Google today. You didn't choose it. It was just there. A little search box on your phone, already turned on. You typed and Google answered. But being just there isn't free. Last quarter, Google paid other companies $15.23 billion to be the one you see first. That's money Google hands to other companies so their search box opens to Google and not to anyone else. And right now, a court is deciding if Google's even allowed to keep doing it. Let's open the filing. So here's the story you've heard. Google won search because they're the best. People tried Bing, Yahoo, but kept coming back to Google, fair and square. Google says that too. 3 weeks ago, its lawyers told a court that Google prevailed fair and square. And maybe that's true. Google's search is good. Most people do like it. So if it's really that good, here's what should follow. Google should stop paying to be the default tomorrow, and people would keep picking it anyway. That's not what happens. Google pays about $20 billion a year to one company just to stay that default. $20 billion to Apple every year, so the search box on every iPhone opens to Google before you even touch it. You don't pay to be the favorite when you're already the favorite. So something in this simple story doesn't add up. To see what, you have to read what Google files. So let's actually read it. This is Google's own earnings report from this past April, covering the first 3 months of 2026. Near the bottom is a line called Traffic Acquisition Costs. The number next to it is $15.23 billion. Traffic acquisition costs. That's a long way of saying money we pay other companies so people's searches come to us. Phone makers, web browsers, other websites. Now line up the timing, because that's where it gets confusing. $15.23 billion is just 1 quarter. That's 3 months. Stretch it across a full year, and Google's total bill runs past $60 billion. That whole $60 billion gets split among every company that helps put Google in front of you. And one single partner takes about a third of it, by itself. So where does that biggest check go to? In 2022, Google paid Apple about $20 billion, not for a product, for one thing. To be the search box that's already turned on every iPhone, every iPad, and every Mac. Why is one slot worth that much? Because almost every search runs through it. About 9 out of 10 searches in America go through Google, and almost nobody changes the default. It's already on, so people just use it. Win that one sitting, and you win almost everyone. Here's the strange part. You won't find that $20 billion in any report Google files. You won't find it in Apple's reports either. The public only learned the number because a lawyer said it out loud in court by accident. We even know the shape of the deal. Apple keeps 36 cents of every dollar Google earns from searches that start in Apple's browser. A court document spelled it out. Strange place to learn it. A courtroom. And the price keeps climbing. In 2021, it was about $18 billion. By the spring of that year, Google was already paying Apple more than $1 billion a month, just to stay the default. Microsoft saw all of this and tried to take the spot. It offered Apple 90% of Bing's search money. 90%, but Apple said no. Think about that. Apple turned down 90 cents on the dollar from Microsoft to keep 36 cents on the dollar from Google. Bold of Apple. Or maybe just math. 36% of a giant number beats 90% of a small one. One more number shows how much Apple leans on this. Back in 2020, Google's payments were worth about 17.5% of all profits Apple's entire business made that year, from a single deal. So the simple story starts to bend. Google isn't only winning because people pick it. Google is paying more every year, so the picking barely happens, which leaves the real question. What is the $20 billion a year actually buying? Here's the answer. The $20 billion was never really about the search box. It was about what the search box makes. Every time you search, Google watches. It sees what you type. It sees what you click, and learns a little. Now do that billions of times a day. For 20 years. You don't just end up with a search engine. You end up with something nobody can copy. A record of what the whole world is asking. updated every second. That's the machine. Pay to be the default. The default brings the searches turn into data. The data makes the answers better. Better answers keep people searching. Then the wheel spins again. A rival could copy Google's code. A rival could even outspend Google. What a rival can't get is 20 years of watching what everyone searched for. And that only comes from being the default. So the $20 billion to Apple isn't buying a spot on a phone, it's buying fuel for that wheel. Take away the searches and the wheel slows down. And that's the part Google is fighting hardest right now, not the Apple deal, the data. Here's why it's a fight now and not 10 years ago. For 20 years, nothing really threatened the default. Then AI search showed up. People started asking GPT the same questions they used to type into Google. For the first time, the wheel had a real rival. So look at what the judge did. Last September, the court ordered Google to share the data, its record of searches and clicks, with rivals. That includes AI companies. It includes OpenAI, the company behind GPT. Google is fighting that order harder than anything else. In its appeal, it says handing over the data would do irreparable harm. Plain version, damage you can't undo. And Google asked for one thing very plainly. Keep the AI companies out. Keep OpenAI from getting the data. Its reasons? Those companies are already doing great on their own and shouldn't get to, in Google's own word, rewrite on what Google built. So read the appeal closely, and you see what Google is really defending. Not the right to be your default, the right to keep the thing those defaults have been feeding for 20 years, all to itself. Google didn't just win the search. It pays every single year to make sure the question of who you'd actually pick never comes up. And now it's in court to keep paying, and to keep what those payments built away from everyone else. Watch one thing over the next year. The judge banned the lock-in deals, but still let Google pay for that default spot. The government said that's not enough. Late this year or early next, a higher court decides whether the data gets shared or whether the wheel keeps spinning untouched. So here's the real question. Is Google paying $20 billion because its search is the best? Or is it paying $20 billion because it's terrified you might realize it isn't? Tell me below. If you want the line-by-line walkthrough of every number in this video, the actual filings, exact figures, court documents, sources, that's what Footnote brief is. Link in description and pinned comment. It's free.